Hello aspirants, I'm Indumati Karthikeyan from InKar IAS Academy. Today we are going to see about the 29th November current affairs which is taken from the daily edition and also the topic from editorial 1, that is armed insurrection to parliamentary politics. This topic is considered our GS3 role of external state and non-state actors in creating challenges to the internal security. Why it is in the news? The armed insurrection is a violent attempt by a large group of people to overthrow their country's government and take control over that. The goal of an armed insurrection is usually to remove the rulers from the office. That is the interrogating insurgent groups into the democratic politic and strengthen the legitimacy of the democracy. So, the recent electoral success of the Janata Vimukhi Peramuna, the led National People's Power in the parliamentary and presidential election in the Sri Lanka that highlights is less noticeable trend. The left wing voluntary groups once dedicated to armed struggles are shifted toward the democratic engagements, and also the ones dedicated to armed struggle are shifting towards the democratic engagement, historically guided by the ideological such as Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. These groups have viewed to the state as a tool of the capitalist oppression, that believing that their social economic justice demands dismantling capitalist structure by the own force. So this is the major issue. That is a recent election done in the Sri Lanka. The insurgency taken place. That is the current issue. That is the insurgency transitioning to the parliamentary politics in recent decades. That is a However, some of the most prominent insurgency, including Nepalese Maoists, that is El Salvador groups, that is Farabundo Marti National Liberation Front, that is El Salvador Farabundo Marti National Liberation Front, and certain Maoist Leninist group within India have pursued a new path by entering parliamentary policies. Actually, they are the shift to reflect the pragmatic blend of ideological adaptation and responsiveness uh, to the changing political realities. That is that origin and ideology of these left-wing extremism. That insurgency is a prolonged insurgency, the is daunting, require existing resource, that is a popular support and the resilient to withstand state counter-insurgency tactics. That is a over time past that it pushes revolutionary group to reconsider the armed struggle and optimal strategy, and also they can a harsh reality. That is an insurgency often reveal that public sentiment may shift against sustained violence, and also particularly the civilian casualties and also the prolonged hardship weaken popular support. There is a political engagement in the shifting, that the realization to spur some factions to experience with the political engagement to achieve their goals without violence, and also the potentially greater public acceptance. And also there is a striking example in the Nepal, that is origin or objective of this group, that is Communist Party of Nepal, that is a Maoist, launched a civil war 1996 to dismantle the monarchy, establish the People's Republic. So there is a negotiation and people accords also happening. That is after a decade to intense conflict, the Maoists chose to negotiate the sign the comprehensive peace accord in 2006. This government agreement allowed them to participate in mainstream politics and also the governance. There is a transition to the democracy by 2008. That is a Maoists played a pivotal role in the transitioning Nepal to the federal democratic republic. So this is a landmark achievement for the movement, once defined by a commitment of the revolutionary overthrow. So the significance of this effect is the participation in mainstream politics demonstrated how the revolutionary ideals could be adopted to the operation of the established political institution. This is the major significance happened after the revolutionary movement, and also there is a El Salvador's National Liberation Front. There is a civil war objectives, that is the FMLA LN coalition of Maoist Leninist guerrilla groups fought a civil war throughout the 1980s. So aiming to overthrow the US backed government. There is a peace accord and political shift. There is a 1992 peace accord enabled the FMLN to transition from insurgent group to legitimate political party. That is the FMLN eventually won national election, channeling the social economic agenda through democratic processes. And also there is a ideology evolved, that is over time a party shifted from revolutionary Marxism to a more moderate leftist stance, so aligning itself with a democratic socialism. So, what drives the shift? India diverse Maoist landscape. There is a armed insurgency. That is the Communist Party of India. Maoists continue to pursue the armed insurgency, especially in rural areas with a weak government presence, that added to the Maoist concept of a protected people's war. Shift to the democratic participation. The other factions such as Communist Party of India, Maoist, Leninist, Liberalist have abandoned armed struggle. That is by the 1980s, the CPIML, that liberation transition to contesting election is became a political entity. There is a Sri Lankan case, the yearly insurgencies and uprising. That is the initial Marxist Leninist Maoist party. That is the JVP led two uprisings. That is the 1971 and also in the year of 1980. So the employing indigenous violent strategy to seize the power, and also there is a brutal suppression of these insurrections found forced to group to resist to its approach. And also there is a transition to the parliamentary politics since 1990s. The JVP embraced parliamentary politics, award advocating for the economic reform, social justice, also the workers right. They are asking these kind of things, and within a democratic framework. And also there is a babe transition allowed them to pursue the goal with the cost of the sacrifice of wars. First of all, we must know what are the factors driving the shift armed struggle to the electoral politics. That is a first of all strategic realism, that is protected insurgencies are resource intensive and unsustainable. In Nepal, the in El Salvador negotiated peace accords allowed political interference, influence with the continued violence. So there is a strategic, and also there is a shifting in the public sentiment. The persist violence often alienates the civilian population, weakening the insurgent group support base, and also there is a international pressure also there. So there is a pressure in from the United Nations mediate the peace agreements. So the global context condemns that violent insurgencies encountering the groups of pursue the peaceful engagement. And also there is an example that UN played a crucial role in this brokering peace in El Salvador, El Salvador, and also facilitating the FMLN transition. So there is an ideological evolution happening in the insurgents. So that is a major issue, that is adopting revolutionary doctrines. That is the insurgent groups adopt a rigid ideologies to fit democratic framework as prolonged conflict necessities reassessments. And also the JVP shifted from the Marxist to Leninist Maoist roots to advocating the social justice in the democratic system, and also the reaching a broader base. And also we need to balancing the ideal and also the pragmatism. That is a JVP soften the revolutionary to appeal a wider electorate while maintaining its commitment to social and also the economic justice. There is a paradox transition happening as a democracy is a tool for the change. That is a expanding representation by entering the mainstream policy. Insurgent group amplified marginalized voices. That is, Nepal Maoists prioritize rural and marginalized community, fostering their inclusive governance. So, what is the response of these? That is, operating within established political framework, give former insurgent group legitimacy and also greater capacity to address the social injustices, and also genuine reform in the corruption of existing system, and also they often face public skepticism, that is a commitment to the democratic norms, as citizens may remember the violent past. So they must build credibility, that is the balance of ideals and also practice demands of governance, and also there is a need the ideology drives their action or merely serves as a tool to the power, and also there is a transition can be need that reflect political reality rather than the abandonment of the ideology. These are the important response required. What is the impact of the democracy? That is a impact of democracy is a very important thing to integrate insurgent group into a democratic polities, and also commit to the democratic principle and contribute to the development of the inclusive governance structure, and also we need to adapt the ideological compromise, that is mainly we need to adapt the ideological left wing extremism. Adapting the parliamentary policy could be rationalized. So, new phase of ideological struggle, reinterpreting revolution in a modern democratic context. So, in the view, parliamentary engagement is not an anthem, but rather an adjustment to the contemporary realities. So, what was we conclude that the transition from the armed insurrection to the political participation is reshaping the narrative contemporary insurgencies. So, it really reveals that radical movement can evolve that democratic framework. It also the rekindle confidence in certain forms of democratic socialism. So it offering the path that addressing systematic issues in the capitalism. Thank you so much.